The passenger side mirror of my brand new Audi dangled by a single wire as I turned into my parents' gravel driveway. One headlight flickered against the darkness like a dying heartbeat. My older sister, Jade, stood near the front porch holding a half-empty bottle of water, completely unbothered. Then she gave me that familiar lazy smile. "Mom will make you drop this," she said, tossing her keys onto the wooden railing. You know how she is. My mother didn't even look up from her phone. She just sighed and waved a hand. "It's just metal, Vera. Don't tear the family apart over a car." That word. Family, it had followed me like a shadow my whole life. When Jade lost my security deposit on a rented apartment, I forgave her. When she took my credit card for one small purchase that turned into $2,000, I forgave her. Every disaster became my responsibility, because I was the stable one. But this car was different. I'd saved for 14 months. No cosigner, no bailouts, just 80-hour weeks and canceled vacations. Jade stepped closer, still smiling. Then I reached into my jacket and pulled out the accident report. Her smile vanished instantly. Not because she felt bad, Jade never worried about consequences unless witnesses existed. "What's that supposed to be?" she asked, crossing her arms. I looked at my mother first. "You said she hit a mailbox. That's what she told me," Mom answered too quickly. I smoothed the paper flat. The crease down the middle was still sharp from the police scanner. "That's strange," I said quietly. "Because the witness statement says Jade rear-ended a sedan so hard it pushed the other car through an intersection." The porch went silent. My mother's phone clattered onto the table. "You said no one else was involved." Jade snapped back. The other driver slammed her brakes for no reason. The report shook in my hand. Not from fear, from something colder. "She has 2 cracked ribs," I said. "And her 5-year-old was in the back seat." My mother's expression shifted then, but not toward Jade. Toward me. "Vera," she warned softly, "don't make this worse than it already is. Not are they okay, not why didn't you tell us. Just protect Jade again." Then Jade rolled her eyes and muttered the words that broke something open. She shouldn't have been driving anyway if she's that fragile. The porch went completely still. Even the wind seemed to pause. My mother stared at her daughter like she'd never seen her before. "Jade, what did you just say?" Jade shrugged defensively. "I'm saying the woman slammed on her brakes for no reason." I looked at my sister for a long moment, searching for any flicker of guilt. There was nothing. Just annoyance that her evening had become inconvenient. That was the exact second something inside me finally detached. Not loudly, not with a scream. Quietly, like a rope snapping after years of tension. I folded the accident report carefully and slipped it back into my purse. My mother noticed immediately. "Good," she said, relieved. "Now let's all calm down and handle this privately." Privately, meaning Jade stays protected while everyone else cleans up the mess. I almost laughed. Instead, I pulled out my phone and opened the photo the insurance adjuster had sent me an hour earlier. The screen showed Jade climbing out of my Audi outside a sports bar 20 minutes before the crash. Cocktail glass still in her hand. My mother's face drained of color. Oh my God. But Jade recovered. Fast. Too fast. She looked directly at me and smiled again. Then she said, "You won't report your own sister." I wish I could say I answered immediately. I didn't, because part of me still wanted my family to prove me wrong. I kept waiting for anyone to finally draw a line for Jade without me forcing it. Instead, my mother rubbed her temples and said, "Everyone makes mistakes." I felt my heartbeat slow down after that. Not from calmness, from clarity. Jade leaned against the porch railing like she'd already won. See? You're overreacting again. Overreacting, the same word they used when Jade ruined my college graduation by screaming at a professor until security escorted her out. The same word after she sold our grandmother's antique watch and lied about it for 8 months. Every memory suddenly connected inside me like broken glass forming a mirror. I wasn't family to them. I was cleanup. I opened my contacts and pressed the adjuster's number. My mother stood up instantly. Vera, don't. My thumb hovered above the screen. Why not? Because once you do this, there's no fixing it. That almost made me stop. Then Jade laughed under her breath and said, Please, Mom would never let anything happen to me. I looked straight at her while the call connected. Then I said quietly, That's exactly why I have to. The adjuster answered on the second ring. Ms. Klein. His voice came through the speaker. Have you made a decision? Nobody moved. My mother looked frozen beside the porch steps, like speaking too fast might still stop this. Jade just stared at me, disbelief slowly replacing confidence. I swallowed once. Yes, I said. I want my full statement added to the claim. Jade pushed off the railing immediately. Are you insane? The adjuster continued calmly. Including the possible impairment evidence you mentioned earlier. My mother's head snapped toward Jade. What evidence? She demanded. I never looked away from my sister. The bar receipt was inside the center console. For the first time all night, Jade's expression cracked completely. You searched my purse? She shouted. No, I answered. The paramedics found it next to the driver's seat. My mother sat down heavily on the porch chair like her knees had stopped working. The adjuster's voice stayed steady. Ms. Klein, once this is filed, law enforcement will likely request formal interviews. My mother stepped closer to me carefully. Vera, please, not angry anymore, scared because she finally understood this wasn't disappearing. I closed my eyes for 1 second, hearing years of excuses echo in my head. Then Jade said the worst possible thing. If I go down, she whispered, I'm taking Mom with me. My mother went pale so fast, it scared me. Jade, she whispered. What does that mean? My sister looked cornered now, breathing harder. Mascara smeared beneath one eye. For the first time in years, she didn't look untouchable. She looked reckless and desperate. The adjuster stayed silent on speaker, probably listening carefully. My mother pointed at Jade with a trembling hand. Don't start lying because you're scared. Jade laughed once. Sharp, bitter lying? Then she looked directly at me. Tell them who paid off my last 2 accident claims. The porch suddenly felt smaller. I turned slowly toward my mother. Jade kept going. Tell them who called her friend at the DMV to make my suspended license disappear last year. My mother exploded. That's enough, but it was too late. Every secret hit the air at once, like burst pipes behind a wall. My mother stood up so abruptly her chair scraped across concrete. You told me she never drove after drinking. She was scared. My mother shot back desperately. I handled it. Handled it. That word again. I stared at her, realizing this had never been just Jade. My mother had been protecting her so long, neither of them remembered where the lies started anymore. Then police lights flashed across our driveway. Blue and red washed over the shattered Audi like a warning finally arriving years too late. Nobody spoke. 2 officers stepped out of the cruiser while another vehicle pulled in behind them. The insurance adjuster must have already flagged the case before calling me back. One officer approached carefully. We need to ask a few questions regarding the accident earlier tonight. Jade instantly pointed at me. She's exaggerating everything. The officer barely reacted. Ma'am, we already interviewed witnesses from the bar. My mother closed her eyes. That tiny movement hurt more than yelling would have because it meant she already knew. One officer asked Jade to step aside. She refused at first, then finally walked toward the driveway with stiff shoulders and shaking hands. My mother sat silently on the porch chair, crying into both palms. I stayed near the front door, numb. The second officer turned toward my mother. "Ma'am, we also need clarification about prior record interference involving your daughter." My mother looked at me then, not angry, not betrayed, just exhausted, like she finally understood the cost of protecting one child by slowly sacrificing another. Jade suddenly screamed from beside the patrol car, raw panic tearing through her voice. "They found the pills in my purse." My mother started crying harder the second those words left Jade's mouth. My mother didn't move at all. She stood in the driveway under the police lights, looking older than I had ever seen her. Smaller somehow. Like every excuse she had built over the years finally collapsed at once. An officer guided Jade toward the patrol car while she kept twisting back toward us. "Mom, say something." My mother opened her mouth. Nothing came out. That silence changed everything, because for the first time in our lives, she wasn't rescuing her. Jade's panic turned ugly fast. "This is your fault." She screamed at me. "You wanted this." I looked at her through the flashing lights and realized something strange. I didn't hate her anymore. I was just tired of being the responsible one while chaos got protected because it cried louder. My mother finally looked at me. Her eyes were red. "I failed both of you." Maybe she did. But hearing her admit, it felt like a door unlocking somewhere deep inside me. The tow truck hauled away what remained of my Audi while Jade disappeared into the back seat of the cruiser. Nobody asked me to forgive her again. And for the first time in my life, that silence felt like freedom.